All right, good morning. I'm thinking about the global GPS, the light bulb, the cell phone, the telephone, the stoplight, refrigerator truck, gas mask, and the first internet search engine. All those had in common, they're basically made possible through African Americans. Okay, I get the first slide up. Okay, think about that. You look at Washington, D.C. was designed by Benjamin Banneker. The light bulb and the telephone by Lewis Latimer, even though Alexander Graham Bell and Thomas Edison get credit for it. The first GPS system, global positioning system, Gladys West. Okay, the cell phone possibility, Henry T. Sampson. And the first gas mask, Garrett Morgan, and so forth. And then Alan Armitage, the first internet search engine. Could you show the first video, please?
Hale Williams performed the first ever heart surgery in 1893 without the assistance of x-rays, antibiotics, or modern anesthesia. Dr. Dan, as he was known, was born in Pennsylvania and received his medical degree from Chicago Medical School. In 1891, he founded Provident Hospital, the first interracial hospital in Chicago on the city's south side. The hospital established the first black nursing school. One fateful day, 2 years later, a young black man named James Cornish was brought to Provident Hospital with a serious wound on his chest. With his patient bleeding heavily, Williams saw only one option. He performed surgery on James' chest, fixing the severed artery, and then closed the wound. James was discharged 51 days later, fully recovered. He lived another 20 years, proving the success of Dr. Dan's operation. George Washington Carver was a botanist, agricultural chemist, and inventor. His innovation and determination helped to restore the struggling agricultural economy of the South during the early 20th century. Fascinated with nature from an early age, he grew a secret flower garden in the woods near his foster home. He earned the nickname the Plant Doctor by the time he was 10 years old because of his skill in caring for sick plants. At 27, Carver entered Iowa State College of Agriculture and graduated as one of their outstanding scholars. He was appointed their greenhouse director and an assistant instructor in botany. He earned his master's degree in 1896, and out of his long-held desire to help poor black Southerners, he accepted Booker T. Washington's offer to be the director of agriculture at Tuskegee Institute. Southern cotton farmers were bringing in smaller harvests and thus less money. Carver examined the soil and found the cotton plants had taken important nutrients from the soil. He discovered that peanuts, sweet potatoes, soybeans, and cowpeas return nitrogen to the soil, so he urged farmers to plant these in rotation with cotton. The crops helped feed the farmers' families and allowed them to grow more cotton than before. When the farmers struggled to find customers for their peanut and sweet potato crops, Carver made more than 300 products from peanuts, such as ink, shampoo, soap, and candy, and molasses, glue, and flour from sweet potatoes. Carver donated his life savings to Tuskegee to establish the George Washington Carver Foundation, which helped provide research opportunities for students. A museum was also founded in his honor. President Franklin D. Roosevelt ordered the dedication of the George Washington Carver National Monument, located near the scientist's childhood home in Missouri. It was the first national monument dedicated to an African American. George Washington Carver believed, "It is simply service that measures success." Madam C.J. Walker was the first African American millionaire businesswoman in the United States. Born Sarah Breedlove in Louisiana, she was orphaned at age 6. At age 20, she became a widow with a 2-year-old daughter to support. She worked as a washerwoman in St. Louis, Missouri, a job which required difficult manual labor with little pay. Still, she attended night school and saved what money she could to invest in her experiments. Sarah suffered from alopecia, a condition which left her hair dry and brittle. Sometimes patches fell out. Dissatisfied with the hair treatments available at the time, she mixed different combinations of oils in her bathtub until she discovered a satisfactory formula. The treatment worked for her, and she then began testing her wonderful hair grower on other people. It was a hit, and after moving to Denver, Colorado, she perfected her treatment and created other products, including a straightening comb, which she patented in 1905. Sarah sold products door to door and used her own before and after photos as proof of her product's effectiveness. Sarah married Charles Joseph Walker in 1906 and began calling herself Madam C.J. Walker. Her Walker method took off, allowing her to establish an office and manufacturing headquarters after only 1 year. With the help of her daughter and nieces, Walker recruited more saleswomen to help sell her products. In 1908, Walker opened a second office in Philadelphia, as well as a beauty parlor and school in Pittsburgh. Her hair courses eventually became available in New York, Indianapolis, and at black colleges throughout the South. In 1917, Walker built a 30-room mansion in New York and began to sponsor black artists and writers, even establishing the Madam Walker Theater Center in Indianapolis. By that time, her manufacturing company took up an entire city block and employed over 3,000 people. Madam C.J. Walker also donated generously to scholarship funds at Tuskegee and Palmer Memorial Institutes and organizations such as the YMCA and the NAACP. Garrett A. Morgan was an African-American inventor born in 1875 in Kentucky. One night, a Cleveland Waterworks construction crew became trapped underground in a cloud of toxic fumes when their tunnel beneath Lake Erie exploded. First responders made 2 unsuccessful attempts to rescue the workers. With time running out, the authorities summoned Garrett and his brother Frank. They arrived with a gas mask Morgan had patented 2 years before. Earlier breathing devices were unreliable, so Morgan invented something better. Firefighters, engineers, chemists, and other workers who regularly encountered dangerous gases were already using his breathing device in other cities. He later upgraded his mask with its own air supply, and it became of great importance during World War I and later wars. At the Cleveland disaster site, the Morgan brothers and 2 volunteers strapped on the gas mask and made several brave trips through the darkness of the 200-foot-long toxic tunnel. They rescued more than 20 people. Morgan was awarded a medal from the International Association of Fire Engineers. The gas mask was not his first or last invention. Morgan worked as a handyman at a sewing machine shop in Ohio, and at age 26, sold his belt fastener for sewing machines. 8 years later, he opened a tailoring shop which manufactured dresses and suits. After only 1 year, Morgan and his wife purchased a home where they eventually raised 3 sons. After accidentally discovering a hair straightening substance in 1913, Morgan established the G.A. Morgan Hair Refining Company. The profit supported his continued research. In 1923, Morgan patented an automatic traffic signal which led to the overhead and sidewalk traffic lights that keep us safe to this day. I always knew I'd go to space. Mae Jemison, the first African-American woman astronaut, once said. Jemison, born in 1956, is also a physician, teacher, and the founder and president of 2 technology companies, the Jemison Group, and an advanced medical device company, Biosentient Corporation. Born in Alabama and raised in Chicago, Jemison was fascinated with science from an early age. Her father and mother were very encouraging. She said, "My parents were the best scientists I knew because they were always asking questions." Jemison entered Stanford University on scholarship when she was only 16 years old. She graduated with a Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering and a Bachelor of Arts in African and African American Studies. In 1981, she received her doctorate from Cornell University Medical College. Jemison practiced medicine in Los Angeles, California, before serving in the Peace Corps as a medical officer in Sierra Leone and Liberia for 2 years. In addition to speaking English, Jemison speaks Swahili, Russian, and Japanese. Inspired by the life of Sally Ride, the first woman in space, Jemison applied to NASA, and in 1987, she became one of only 15 people chosen out of 2,000 candidates for their astronaut corps. Jemison's first and only spaceflight began on September 12, 1992, when the Space Shuttle Endeavour took off for its second mission. Jemison served as the science mission specialist on the 8-day mission, which was a joint effort between the United States and Japan. Jemison resigned from NASA in March of 1993 to form the Jemison Group Incorporated, which highlights ways to bring science and technology to everyday life. The following year, she founded the Dorothy Jemison Foundation for Excellence, named in honor of her mother, which includes an international space camp for high school students called The Earth We Share. In 2011, the U.S. military chose this foundation to receive $500,000 in funding to help launch the 100-year Starship project. Our task, our mission, Jemison explained, is to make sure all the capabilities needed to mount a human interstellar mission exist. Jemison envisions public participation from everyone, regardless of who they are or where they come from. Someday, perhaps, more people will be able to confidently declare, "I always knew I'd go to space."
All right, these are just some amazing people. Okay, that we're looking at here. In other words, one of the African Americans' greatest asset is the ability to improvise, make something out of nothing. And this next individual, Benjamin Banneker, this will tell his story.
Benjamin Banneker can best be described as a mold breaker. He was born in 1731 in Ellicott's Mills, Maryland. As a child, he attended a Quaker school, one of the few institutes that offered integrated education, and he put what he learned into practice. At just 15, he developed an irrigation system for his family farm. When he was 21, a friend gave him a pocket watch, which he promptly took apart to figure out how it worked. But he was not simply satisfied by understanding the mechanism. He needed to make his own. So Banneker built his own clock from scratch. And it was so well engineered and the mechanism so precise that it struck on the hour, every hour, for the next 40 years. Banneker's clock gained him a reputation, catching the eye of a famous clockmaker, Joseph Ellicott. He helped Ellicott build a complicated clock, and in return, Ellicott loaned him scientific books and instruments for astronomical study. He taught himself everything there was to know about science and math, particularly astronomy. He began using what he learned to predict weather patterns and plan agricultural methods. He even predicted a solar eclipse in 1789, successfully contradicting many notable minds of the time. Seeing the practical applications of his work, Banneker began publishing Benjamin Banneker's Almanac in 1792, and it was a wild success. It contained information on weather patterns, farming practices, and was basically a how-to guide for agricultural life. The Almanac also included political writings, such as a plan of a peace office for the United States, which caught the attention of Thomas Jefferson, and the two exchanged several letters. Banneker even implored Jefferson about the evils of slavery, advocating for abolition. When it came time for President Washington to appoint a commission to survey the site of the new capital, Washington, D.C., Jefferson made sure Banneker's name was on the short list. Banneker worked closely with French architect Pierre L'Enfant to plan the Capitol. But L'Enfant was notoriously difficult to work with and was known for his explosive temper. As a result, L'Enfant was dismissed from his post before planning could be completed. And in what could have been a devastating move, L'Enfant took a year's worth of the plans with him. Just when it seemed that the team would have to start from scratch, Banneker saved the day and the Capitol. In 2 days, Banneker recreated L'Enfant's designs entirely from memory. He redrew every street and stream and building, effectively saving the Capitol as we know it. Banneker died in 1806 at the ripe old age of 75. So next time you're in Washington, D.C., the next time your dad refers you to the Farmer's Almanac for all the information you could ever need, Remember that we owe that and so much more to Benjamin Banneker, the first African-American scientist.
Wow, think about that. The major accomplishments going in. Now, here's another individual, Lewis Latimer. He's the real person who made the light bulb possible to go more than a day or two. And then also he was involved in inventing the telephone with Alexander Graham Bell.
Did you know Lewis Howard Latimer worked with two famous inventors? Let's find out more about it. While he was in the Navy, Lewis taught himself to become a draftsman. That's a person who can make mechanical drafts or drawings that show how a machine works. The first famous inventor Lewis worked with was Alexander Graham Bell. As Bell's assistant, Lewis would play an important role in the creation of the telephone. He used his skills to create the drawings for the patent that Bell submitted in 1876. Later, Latimer also worked with Thomas Edison. He invented something called a carbon filament. This small piece helped make incandescent light bulbs work. Incandescent bulbs glow or give light from being heated. So Latimer made it easier to produce the carbon filament so a lot more people could use light bulbs. Now, while Latimer helped out two great inventors, he also had his own inventions, which included an improved railroad car bathroom and an early air conditioning unit.
All right. Once again, amazing. Like both these folks were around the late 1700s, early 1800s. This is way before any type of affirmative action or the DEI program, making amazing accomplishments against all odds. Now let's talk about the global positioning system, GPS that you have in your car and your telephone. This is the individual who basically helped invent that.
Whether it's navigating jet airliners, providing directions to a new restaurant, or geotagging your social media pictures, few imagine the impact GPS would have on modern society, including 88-year-old Gladys West.
I never would have thought that I could sit in a car and, it says, turn left, turn right. No.
For 42 years, Gladys was employed by the U.S. Navy. As a mathematician, she would help lay the groundwork for many of the government's orbital satellite projects. That includes what became the Global Positioning System, or what we call GPS.
We didn't do all the GPS stuff that's for the car and all, we didn't actually do that, but what we did was got the accuracy of where things were located all around the world and stuff in its database.
Born in 1930, Gladys grew up on her family's farm just south of Richmond, Virginia, where she learned the value of hard work. And that would pay off for Gladys, who wanted more than what life on a country farm could offer.
You could get a scholarship if you were the first or second in your high school graduating class. So right off, I was Johnny on the spot, doing all my work all the time.
She finished at the top of her high school class, earning her a full scholarship to what was then called Virginia State College, a historically black school in Petersburg, Virginia.
The teachers were encouraging me to major in math because they thought that I would be good.
Again, Gladys finished at the top of her class and went on to complete her master's. In 1956, she accepted a job at the Naval Support Facility in Dahlgren, Virginia. The space race was just taking off, and computers were the wave of the future.
It was really an excitement, They promised us that they would teach us, how to communicate with this computer and all this stuff, So, knowing me, I was ready to, to work hard with it.
And work hard she did. With the success of the space program, NASA was beginning to place satellites into orbit. Gladys was tasked to help write and program code needed to process the enormous amount of data coming in.
You have a long equation and there are certain coefficients that go along with each term. You have to generate them, get them accurate and all. Our program encoded all those equations, and we checked them out by hand cases and all, and they were passed on to the next level.
The work was long and tedious. Every equation checked and rechecked for accuracy.
You didn't want to cause anybody else any holdups or any trouble about something that you had done that prevented them from making progress. So you want to have to make sure that they could depend on anything that you sent.
It was this tenacity and dedication that drew the attention of the fellow mathematician Ira West. The two dated for 18 months before getting married in 1957.
She wasn't an easy catch, you know. Let me tell you, I had to work hard for that.
I always think of Ira, I always tell him, I said, he played more than I did.
Meanwhile, the civil rights movement was sweeping the country. Gladys and Ira wanted to show their support, but government employees weren't allowed to participate in public demonstrations. So the couple decided the best way to help was to change perceptions and work even harder.
We just were pushing. We couldn't participate directly, but indirectly in the situation.
That was another reason why I felt that I always had to be my best, and I always had to be a role model.
All right, once again, a genius. Okay, during that time period. Okay, it's like I said before, any type of diversity programs, affirmative action. Once again, these people, and then the cell phone technology, individual responsible for the cell phone. Okay, could you play that one?
The inventor of the cell phone is Henry Sampson Jr. Sampson was an American from Jackson, Mississippi. He attended Morehouse College and transferred to Purdue. He received an MS in engineering from the University of California. He was awarded an MS in nuclear engineering from Illinois and his PhD from Illinois. Sampson is the first African American to receive a PhD in nuclear engineering. In 1971, Sampson was awarded a patent for the gamma electric cell. This technology was used in the creation of the cell phone, and without it, cell phones could not have been created. In 2008, Dr. Sampson was honored among 20 chemical engineers in other pursuits. He is also the recipient of a variety of awards, including the Atomic Energy Commission's Award 1964-1967, the Black Image Award from Aerospace Corporation in 1982. In addition to his work in the engineering fields, Dr. Sampson was a writer, a film historian, and documentary film producer who focused on the African American presence in film and the entertainment industry. He has written 5 books about the portrayal of African Americans in movies, cartoons, and on radio.
Those who made some amazing accomplishments. I'm going to skip to the Altamage. That's Archie.
Refrigerator?
No, the next one after that.
Elijah.
The search. This one here.
Okay.
Internet search.
Alan Emtage is a Caribbean-Canadian computer scientist and internet pioneer. He was born in Barbados in 1964. Emtage was fascinated with technology from a young age, inspired by a Sinclair ZX81 computer. He followed his dream and moved to Canada to study at McGill University, Montreal. There he earned his bachelor's and master's degrees in computer science. He completed his master's degree in 1990. While at McGill University, Emtage sometimes worked as a systems administrator. During that time, he faced the challenge of navigating the fast-growing internet's vast, uncharted digital landscape. In 1989, Emtage created Archie to solve that problem. Archie was a tool that would change how everyone found information online. Archie is an acronym for archive without the V. It was designed to index FTP archives, offering a simple but revolutionary search capability for files across the internet. Emtaj's invention was the precursor to modern search engines, simplifying the daunting task of locating specific data during the early days of the internet's chaotic growth. Following Archie's success, Emtaj, alongside Peter Deutsch, founded Bunyip Information Systems in 1992. Bunyip commercialized Archie, extending its reach and functionality, and marked Emtaj's entry into the entrepreneurial world of internet services. His career continued to influence internet development, notably through his roles in the Internet Society and the IETF. He co-chaired the group that standardized URLs, further shaping the internet's infrastructure. Emtaj's contributions did not go unnoticed. In 2017, he was inducted into the Internet Hall of Fame, a testament to his impact on digital navigation. His academic alma mater, McGill University, and the University of the West Indies, honored him with honorary degrees in 2022 and 2019, respectively. This recognition highlighted his role in transforming how we interact with information.
All right, those are just a slice and a few of the folks that made contributions. Juneteenth, tomorrow at 5 to 8 p.m. at Atlantic Street Center. That's where we're going to have we'll be broadcasting from. And so there you go. And I want you to, pass this information on, okay? But think about this in terms of the contributions they made that people don't really know about. And now you have the present administration trying to erase all these contributions and make it look like there's no such thing as history, no contributions. And hopefully also this will dispel the myth of the so-called less qualified person just because they're not a certain nationality. All right, so this is it. Like I said, Professor Jeffries, Rainier Radio, and I'll see you later. July 1st. Thank you for your time and looking forward to working with you again.